You need very little supplies to make these sunflowers. In fact, I just used up some stuff I had in my stash. Um, I was planning to go to Hobby Lobby and buy some new fabrics. Now, I looked through my stash and I was like, you know what? I have enough here to make do. So for each flower, you're going to need 3 fabric circles. And you can see this little wreath behind me. This rag wreath, I do have a tutorial on my blog, but I had leftover fabric from that, so that's what I used for my sunflowers, which actually makes a lot of sense because the two will coordinate together really nicely. So, like I said, each sunflower needs 3 circles. The first circle you're going to want, or the first 2 circles, will be 8 inches in diameter. Of course, you can adjust this based on how big you want your sunflowers. This is just what I did. I just traced a lunch plate on this kind of it's like a rusty brown, and I suggest, like, you know, mustard yellow or even brown or a brownish burgundy. All those colors will look great. So you need a front and then you need a back, and the back is also the same fabric size circle. Now, I didn't have enough. I would have loved to do the front and back of my sunflowers with this fabric, and I kind of thought about it a little bit. I was going to do some that had, you know, the front and back, but then I would have had other fabrics for the front, which it's like one of those whole things. It's whatever you want to do. And I decided that for my sunflowers, because I think I'm going to do some kind of a garland, I wanted the main flower color to be the same on all of them. Okay, so each flower has 2 8-inch circles, a front and a back, and then you're also going to need a middle. And I had some homespun blacks that I used. Again, you can do whatever you want. I think dark colors kind of look better for a sunflower, so I used a variety of blacks, and these are just about 5 inches. They're just under 5 inches. You're just going to need some thread. I used dark brown, even though black probably would have been better, but it doesn't matter. A needle, and you want to thread. I actually folded my thread in so you're getting 4 strands and then not the bottom. You just need a little pin and then some fiber fill stuffing. I just buy a big bag of this, either at Amazon or Walmart, and just keep it for all these types of crafts that I'm going to do. So that's all you need. And this is a really affordable fall project. If you go to the fabric store to buy your fabrics, so like I said, this is an 8-inch circle. You could buy a quarter of a yard and spend like $2 or $3 max per fabric and make these sunflowers. So I'm going to flip my phone around and show you how easy these come together. So we're going to stack the 2 8-inch circles on top of each other, and, you know, get it as close as you can, but my goodness, these are tattered sunflowers. They don't need to be perfect. Lay the smaller circle on top and just center it as best you can. And then I'm just using a little pin, a straight pin, and you just kind of want to secure all 3 pieces together so that in the next step they're not shifting around on you. Now, I would recommend DMC floss because it's thicker than normal thread, but I honestly don't know where mine is. I think it's still packed from when we moved here. So I'm just, like I said, I took a regular thread and I quadrupled the length. I just did a really long piece. I folded it in half, threaded my needle, folded it in half again, and tied a knot, double knot on the bottom. So now what we're going to do, now this doesn't really matter, this is personal preference. We're going to hide that knot. You just want to lift your fabric and pull your needle up. I don't know if you can see because this is dark on dark, but I'm going to just do a simple running stitch through all of the layers by hand, and this is just really easy. I'm leaving about a 1/4 inch on the edge of the middle fabric part. You don't want to go too close to the edge, and if it gathers slightly, that actually is even better. Sorry, I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but if you don't know how to do a running stitch, you're knotting your thread, you're going up from the bottom so the knot catches at the bottom, and you're just holding onto your needle, putting it down, and using your bottom finger to kind of guide it where you want it to come up. So I'm just leaving, I don't even know, I mean, every stitch might be slightly different. Because these are primitive sunflowers, random stitches actually look better than, you know, what you would get on a sewing machine. And these don't have to be super close together. You just want to go around and stitch the whole thing, and because I have so many layers of thread, I just need to make sure that it's not knotting up on me. So you can see that my black center is puckering a little bit. That's fine. I actually prefer that. We are not going to sew all the way around because we're going to stuff the center. So you want to go until you're comfortable with the opening that you have left. I've made a few of these now, and so I can make my opening fairly small, and it, you know, doesn't bother me. But let's just stop right here. Okay, so I started sewing here, and I went, I would say, 3/4 of the way around. Leave your needle attached, don't touch that, but you do need to remove the pin from the center. And we're going to stuff this little sunflower center with our polyfill. So you're just gonna insert it, and you need to put a little stuffing in there too. Okay, mine is about as full as it can be. So we're going to stop, and we're going to sew the flower closed. You may just have to, you know, re-find the edges of your black center. And if your thread has come loose on these edges, just give it a tug to make sure it's all snug again. And then just like we did before, we're just going to finish up with a running stitch. If you're having a hard time holding your thread, you can certainly use that pin to secure everything together. Gosh, I am almost out of thread, but we're gonna have enough. So finish sewing it right up until you get to the original stitch. And I even like to go past it a little bit. And then, because I ended up with my needle on the top, I'm going to push it to the back. So here's what the back looks like. You can see the little puffy part even better, and my stitches. And we're going to just double knot this closed. So I'm just running my needle through a little bit of fabric, and then before that circle closes, I'm going to insert my needle in there and pull it tight. And we're going to just repeat that. Oop, if I have enough thread. Okay. Now we just snip this off. So it's starting to look like a sunflower, but we need our little petals. And the way we're going to create that is we're just going to use, you want to have fabric scissors that you're not going to struggle cutting through your fabric. These are amazing. They're from Amazon and they're less than $8 for this pair. And I mean, I've been using these for at least 2 years and they're still incredibly sharp. So what we're going to do now is we are going to make snips around the entire sunflower. We're going to cut from the outside edge right up until the edge of the black. You don't want to cut through the black. And I am going probably every inch. We're cutting through both the front and the back pieces. And then we're going to do something a little magic to turn these into the sweetest tattered sunflowers. And I'm going to show you how, if you want to put these on a stem, how you can easily do that at this point in the game. Now, I didn't measure this. It doesn't matter if they're perfect or not, but you can see that I just took these all the way and cut it all the way around. Okay, so I have a bunch of these made now, and the trick to getting that tattered look is I'm going to throw my sunflowers in the wash and the dryer. This is why it's important that you're using cotton fabric. Because if you've ever cut the bottoms of your jeans off and wanted that frayed look, cut them, you throw them in the wash and the dryer, and they come out frayed. Now there's going to be little bits of fabric that we're going to have to cut off, but that's how you get, that's the magic ingredient. And if you can even buy, like the centers of these are homespun, but if you could buy homespun for the outside edges, homespun is the perfect cotton fabric to do these types of tattered projects. So that is it, you guys. Super easy, super sweet, and inexpensive. And thank you so much for watching.